This is the M700 bolt action sniper, a classic that has been used as the bolt action of choice for shooter-born, cycle sniper, and more by players that want to add an expert sniper feel to the play. The question we're looking at is, would you still use this over something easy like the MXLR or the DVL? Many saying the MXLR being one of the best bolt actions in the wipe and the game, and for me personally both the MXLR and the DVL have been my go-to lately. As usual, we have a couple builds we're looking at, the Feather and the Meta, which have very different playstyles, so find what's best. We have to know our baseline so we can see how much improvement we will actually make with our build. You can buy the standard version at Peacekeeper lower to level 2, with it having 32 ergo and the vertical at 127. Its weight is around 4 kg, which is important for snipers especially. Other variants can be bought at later levels, but unimportant since you can buy the parts of those once you hit level 15 on the fleet anyway. So compared to something early like the Mosin Sniper that has 4 ergo and with 178 vertical recoil, you're doing really well early. Now, I will be honest, only issue with this early is that you don't have a sight at all. Like, not even an ion sight. So it's unusable until you get something, because you're just kind of holding a boomstick. Now, the range test with BCP shows exactly what I'm talking about it being unusable, since you aim in somewhere between a hip fire and like a full-on ADS, but it's kind of like a half-ass kind of shot. I don't know why it's not more looking down the barrel, but this is BSG, so I'm not going to question it. But with a cheap early scope, you'll do some decent work and have enough ergo as you're seeing here. Now this wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about the ammo to start off with. Ammo is pretty simple too, even though we have a lot of options. Early, you're likely running BCP since it's the easiest to get in raid, or buying TCW from skill level 2, but I would never recommend that unless you like pain. Now once you hit mid to late game, you're running whatever has the highest pen, since you're aiming for the one tap potential. For the sweet spot, I recommend the new 80A1 since it can pen level 6 plates, causes bleed, and still does 75 damage with the debuffs only being +4 to recoil and -5 to accuracy. Very OP. Now the recoil debuff isn't an issue since your goal is to kill your target in one shot, and the accuracy we can just manage with skill. I usually have the first round or two be 993 and then the rest being 80A1. M993 is insane when you see that 15% accuracy increase while having only a +6 to recoil. So having that chance to cause bleeds too, well worth it since our goal is the one tap, but this is found rate only and it's not easy to get a lot of. Use for your first shot or two only is kind of my rule of thumb for that. Now if that shot deserved a sub, hit the button. If not, I'll try again from even further away. Now that we got the ammo nailed down, how do we use it? There are two trains of thought when it comes to building out your bolt action. They are either the long range focus or the snappy quick ADS build. We're looking at the latter with the Feather build, and that is under 4 kg depending on the mag and ammo, just slightly above if you go for the 10 rounder. We wasted some magic and we got the ergo up to 43 and the recoil down to 96. Now to achieve this, we have to swap out the stock for the AICS Mod X rail to support our scope of choice, and then attach the BMD muzzle combo. Remove the laser if you want for the extra points to your ergo you'll get without it. Now think of this as your go-to for the quick shot then rotate style. You can hold angle as well since it has low weight and decent ergo and arm stamina, but as you notice this is not suppressed, so I don't recommend holding too long since the enemy will know your position after a single shot. Now compared to the MXLR build I run, it has the same ergo but much lower vertical recoil, with the MXLR having 115 for reference. Now taking this range with our BCP again, we see how the gun itself performs. ADS is snappy and the recoil is controllable, showing off just how well it can perform for those quick, spicy picks. Great for streets, reserve, or ground zero. These are the easy examples where this excels at since you're gonna have lots of tight angles. Now, what if you're a little finer in your preference of taste and you want those long range shots that they never see or hear coming? That's why I offer this Meta Beamer build as your answer. This has all the bells and whistles that you'd want on it for your sniping needs. Now we will sacrifice a couple points of our ergo for us to get down to 83 for our vertical recoil and keeping us silent, deadly, and most importantly, accurate. This has a rangefinder and a 3 to 24x scope, so you can get those crazy across the map shots if needed like on Lighthouse. Here we switch out everything part-wise from the prior build, minus the receiver to be able to achieve this. Definitely more of a late game setup where you have high tier ammo, money, and the skills to be able to use it. Caveat here is that it's a bit chunky like I mentioned at a whopping 6.6 kg and being long enough to barrel stuff yourself indoors. This is perfect for the outdoors, so think woods, shoreline, Lighthouse if you actually enjoy that map, and you will not be let down. Get somewhere nice where you can prone and have sight on a choke point, set up your tent, and wait for the easy pickings to come. In the range, we see how it doesn't lose its edge with the lower ergo and the ADS speed, but is able to keep the shot smooth for easy follow-up if needed. However, with the added weight, M700 does drain noticeably faster unless you are prone. Now, crouching down does help with this as usual, but I want to make sure I call it out before you take this into your next raid. How does the M700 fit into the current sniper meta, and does it realistically compete with the MXLR and others? Maybe you're shocked, but I do say yes, but with some precise considerations. First, early wipe, you should just run the MXLR, as it's cheaper and easier to use right out the box compared to the base M700 that does not even come with an iron sight, making it unusable without an extra mod. Now, as you hit level 15 and can heavily kit the M700 out, then my score for it gets much higher. It's still pricey to upgrade compared to the DVL, for example, that is just a barrel swap and adding a scope. However, it is very satisfying and runs very well despite the price tag that it brings. Since it has a lot of modding options, you can tailor it a lot more to your needs or playstyle compared to the MXLR or the DVL, which have limited modding attachments at this time. Feather build is just as good as the DVL, I'd argue, while the meta build with high enough strength feels much more like a late game contender. The only issue with the feather build and DVL is the DVL comes silenced. So this is something I would recommend you to try out and tweak if needed to suit your playstyle. But this should be at least the minimum needed for most. Let me know, what is your favorite bolt action and why down below, and I will see you howling for the next one.